All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of This Fragile Fire. And I'm happy that I can be doing this passionately enough to be having an episode 3. Now, this world is really unfolding in a way that everyone probably thought it would. But I'm not really going to talk about recent happenings because I don't want to douse everyone's mind with negativity or sadness or anything awful. So instead, we're going to talk about the horror and terror that happens in our own minds. I think that's fun. Maybe. We'll see. But here's the situation: anxiety. All of us have it. All of us more than others. And some of you lucky people out there, less than others. Or you have more of it, but you're really good at dealing with it. I myself am a chronic overthinker. I was actually going to name this podcast before Chronic Thinker, but I don't really want to pay homage to that struggle because having anxiety and overthinking is not something I enjoy experiencing, but it happens, of course. We live right now in an era unlike any other in human history. We are constantly stimulated, constantly on our phones, constantly walking around on our phones, talking on our phones, looking at our phones, scrolling on our phones, and blasting music on our headphones and our earbuds, our AirPods, whatever. There's constant stimulation out there. And the brain is always going, and it doesn't dream of stopping. I could not even imagine on my day to day a world without the stimulus, the stimulation, the bright screen on my face, like just existing requires some type of phone, it seems, or whatever. And I forget often, like a lot of people do, that there's a world around us, that we can drop the phone at any time, that we can walk in nature, walk and enjoy the smells, the sights, feel the grass, touch the tree, breathe, look at another human being and make eye contact with them, the slow embrace, the warm kiss. Even if it's a solo dolo adventure, listening to the sounds around you and slowing down for a little bit. We forget about that. We've been trained growing up, at least people in my own generation, needing a stimulus constantly. We couldn't think about putting our phones down for a little bit because our brain needs something to feed into, to relax into, to fall and get drowned in. But anxiety is a chronic problem, and it's only getting worse as these newer generations come in and they're glued to their phones and they're glued to their tablets and they're glued to whatever because their parents or other influences are all chronically online as well, and the things that they love are online. Going outside is unfathomable, touching the trees and whatever. Thankfully, there's still sports around, so these young kids can go do football or whatever, but it's all online, and it's all exhausting. It really is. Like, you guys see me, like, I post stuff regularly on my Instagram story or whatever, because I just find myself sometimes just sitting here in bed reposting things or posting things, and I'm like, fuck, that's already been like an hour of my time. The discipline requires me to get out of my bed and just start moving. But even then, it's like, okay, I got to go to the gym. I got to work on my certificate. Then I got to do this. But while I'm doing my day, my phone is with me. It's a companion. Detaching from the phone is hard because you know people are messaging you, you get emails, you get whatever, and like success and stability in this world counts on you having that phone and responding to those messages or whatever. And I'm just talking about the noise aspect of the technological world that we're in. The noise, the constant loud noises, the eye strain, the next laboo thing that happens, the next trend. It's just go, 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 spam, spam, spam. Look at this, 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 look at this. The brain just can't get a break, but life demands for us all to slow the fuck down. Slow down. Take a deep breath and slow down. Look at the wall. Look at the patterns and indentations on the wall. Look at your skin. Your hairs on your skin. Your pigmentation. Your bed sheets. Your clock. Listen to the clock. Slow down. Take a deep breath. Think about thinking. Let the thoughts come and go. Watch them pass by as cars driving on the road. Slow down. That's what we need to do. We need to take our minds and slow down. Detach from the tech world around us and slow down. Drink some tea. Sit by a window. Look out the window. Open the window. Smell the air. Listen to your heartbeat. Put down the phone. That's what we need to do, is take a second to stop being so stimulated, to stop being so driven by what's happening in the world. Last week was a crazy week, okay? It was madness. Kirk dying, all these crazy government things that are happening, everyone blowing up, doom scrolling, Civil War talk, all this nonsense. And it's like, bro, just stop the carousel and get me the fuck off. That's what it felt like. It was just mentally and emotionally straining for everyone. But that's not really the world. Because if you take your phone down somewhere and delete it from your existence for a second, and you go about your day to day, you will notice that the world that you see on your phone is a different world that you see in your day to day. There's always exceptions to the rules, but for most Americans, the world you see on your phone is different from the world you live in day to day. Most people are reasonable, kind people. Most people are just trying to survive. Most people are just trying to find what you're finding, what you're trying to find. Peace, anxiety relief, detachment from the chronic terror that is on the online world, the internet, whatever. We as a people, as Fresno, as the world, as whatever, need to withdraw from the phone more than how we're doing it now. We are so attached. Our opinions are echo chambers. We see the worst in everybody and everything. When I open my phone, I see death, destruction, terror. I'm desensitized. All of us are. But that's not a reflection of the world that we live in and day out. That's not our reality. We go to work. We do our job. We see people. We smile. We deal with some annoying bitch down the road, down the aisle, around us, whatever. And then we forget about it and go have a good time, drink, and go to bed. We're not constantly battling people every day. You know, for me, I wake up, I eat my breakfast, I go to work, I help customers, I go and, help these 50-year-old women looking for the right cereal. And I go on my lunch, finish my day at work, go to the gym, work on my stuff, and then go home, go to bed. That's the reality. And I could live in that reality without my phone. And I probably should. Most of us should. The world is not as dark as it is, but we are conditioned to think that what we see on our phones is larger than life and all around us, encompassing all day long. And to some extent, it does. Politics affects everybody, and people should care about it, but not hinge their entire existence on these issues. We're humans. We can figure it out together. We actually can. We actually can. But that's just me scratching the noise part of the anxiety. What we see, what we're exposed to, what's reflected back at us. Anxiety is a loud, screaming voice that always jumps to the worst case scenario. I have it. I spiral a lot. Like, especially with thoughts of, ooh, did I offend this person? Oh my gosh, what if they don't talk to me again? Or like, what if they're going to hold this against me? And then whatever. And I think about that for a long, long period of time. And then I spiral and like, oh, they're going to hate me. And then I have to like over explain myself to them. And it's like, oh my God, now I'm a burden. And then, it just stacks. But that's also not a reflection of reality either. Because when you think for someone about how they feel, that's very unfair to that other person. You do yourself more harm by planting these thoughts and manifesting them into reality. Like, oh, they're done with me, they were so offended, whatever. And then you're making that decision for them. And then this whole time the other person was like really not thinking about anything or didn't even care or like still is good with you, but then you think that they're not, and then you act that way, and it causes this mess that's shitty. No one should. Anxiety causes more problems than it fixes. And ways to deal with that are like little grounding pep talks. Like, you sit there for a moment, right? You sit there and you tell yourself, okay, if this person was emotionally intelligent or just reasonable, most people are, believe it or not, they would have told me, right, hey, what you said earlier kind of like didn't sit right with me and it affected me in a negative way. That's the ideal response that somebody would have. There are a lot of people actually that do just kind of hold things in and don't explain it. Like, oh, like when somebody offends you, you just sit on that and let it sit there instead of talking about it. Always talk about it, by the way. But bottom line is having a discussion with people too, like sitting with yourself and then just sitting there and being like, okay, reasonably, are they thinking about this, what I said to them? Is this their whole day? Realistically, no. If I offended them, they would have come up to me, or there would have been a different energy in the room. And instead of wondering all these things, it would be best to go to the person, right? And have that conversation. Hey, what I said earlier, did that happen to offend you or strike you or hit or kind of like blindside you? And then their response can help put you at ease by a reality check. Like, oh no, I didn't even think anything about it. Like, you're good, man. Anxiety is this false reality that we create in our heads. I do that all the time for myself, and I have to always coach myself not to like really remind myself like there are other people, other human beings with their own lived experiences, and I have no right to conclude or make conclusions for them about me. Because I'm my own person in my own world, in this shared world that we have, living my own experience, and so are they. How do I know what they feel without asking or talking? Because I feel like a lot of anxiety is like based off of other people and how we hope they see us or like how we are in their lives. And anxiety is also a lot about self expectations. I worry the worst. I feel like I am one of the worst worriers out there. I'll worry about anything, literally anything, whether it be money, the future, what I'm going to eat today, my car. Oh my gosh, my car is like the worst part of my anxiety. Like every day I drive it, this I always tell myself this could be the last day that I have a car. My car could be on fire. My car's tire could pop. My engine won't start. Someone's going to, T-bone me. Those are all like realities, but ultimately not helpful and not like realistic in the way that we think that they could. Because I know a lot of people out there also like that, like, oh my god, I just can't drive because I know for a fact that like this car is going to explode with me in it. When realistically, no, it's not going to be like that. But my car is a big source of anxiety. My job is to oh, what did I say to my manager, or like what did I say to my boss, my coworker? Like everything that I say is going to be used against me, or like is going to be used to report me, or I'm going to get written up for doing this one little thing wrong. And I live in this fear of losing my job, and I forget like, you can get fired pretty quickly, but ultimately it takes a lot of work and evidence and stuff for someone to write up all that and fire someone. And then I fear about my health too, like oh, I had because usually every day I try to have around 34 to 36 grams of sugar, right, a day, as per recommendations by the American Heart Association. Yes, I'm a nerd. But I try to have that much a day. And then if I go over that, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm getting diabetes. I'm going to get fat. I'm going to get so gross. Like, it's over. Like, this is the end of the world. I am going to fucking die. I get anxiety from that. Even overeating with calories. Like, if I'm trying to cut like I am right now, I'll go over my, 2,300, 2,400 cut calorie range. And I'll be like, oh, this is over. I'm going to get fat. And there goes the cut. My muscles are going to be destroyed. And then even with, the gym, oh, my God. See, it just keeps going. Like, the gym, I'm like, oh, my God, I went 4 days instead of 5 days this week. I'm going to lose all my progress. I worry about everything. Everything. And it's so unhealthy. But I live this life pretty solo. So I don't really have people or friends around me to kind of coach me, to be like, hey, shut up, relax. That's not how things work. I have to be the one to do that to myself, or even use, and don't at me or come at me with this, but I use my ChatGPT as like a therapy person or like a therapy source. Not that I use it as an oracle to end all be all end result for better mental health. I just go to ChatGPT to help me with, I use its ability to mirror back what I'm saying, and then it kind of grounds me. So I'll go to that like, hey, if I do this X thing, will Y happen? And then it tells me, and I kind of calm down. But I freak out about everything. And I think that just comes from a childhood of having extreme expectations for myself. Like, my parents kind of also were like, oh my God, anything below A or B is failing. You need to do better, blah, 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 blah. And then just kind of perpetuating that my whole childhood, which is, healthy and not healthy because I get really good grades, but my mental health suffers. So I've kind of lived through that my whole life of having extremely high expectations for myself, extremely high routine, extremely high discipline. And throughout my entire school, I would always be like, oh, I can't get below an A. And if I got a B, I would be so mad at myself. So mad. And then I would beat myself up for it, and no one would be there to be like, hey, it's all right. B's better than nothing, better than a C or D. I didn't really have people around me to ground that or stop that anxiety. So anxiety has been a crushing weight my whole life and is in lesser ways today, but still present. I think people need to be taking anxiety a lot more seriously, because I think a lot of old people, boomers especially, look at anxiety as a fake made up problem. But anxiety is actually a tangible, real physical thing. Heart rate increases, you get headaches from it. Um, you can think yourself to death, quite literally, just by stress alone. Cortisol levels rise, hair loss, lack of sleep. It's a tangible problem. And lately, for me, I think anxiety has really gotten a bigger seat in the room because of my goals that I've been reinvigorated in. Like, like I mentioned in my first episode, I want to go to San Diego. I want to move there. And to do that, I want to finish my certified personal trainer certificate. I want to save up a certain amount of money. And the grind to make that happen has been gripping me more so lately. Because with my checks from work, I've been very aggressive with my savings amount. Which, I won't get into super specifics, but I've been putting away like 64% of my overall check into savings. And people will be like, whoa, that is way too much. And you're right, it is. But it's for, because I'm taking two trips. So there's going to be one in January just to go and scat out and have fun. And that's what I'm saving for currently. And then there's the big move that I'm trying to do by July of next year. But now I'm grinding to propel that life forward. So 64% of my money goes into savings, right? And that leaves, after bills, a very minimal amount of money to live happily, like going out for food, having experiences, or, being selective with food and whatever. And I'm living very skeletal right now. And I'm not like poor, but to grind and to have a goal for the future and enjoy that goal and have the most control, I'm suffering now so I can be happy later. And it's something I believe in. But ultimately, that very strict, tight lifestyle, coupled with the grind set that I'm on right now, has created this rigidity that is making life presently very difficult mentally. Because every day is the same. I feel trapped because every day is the same. There's no difference. To make this future happen, I'm suffering now to make this future happen, and I'm sure that there are better ways to do this. But I wake up in the morning, usually around 5:30. I eat breakfast. I get ready and dressed. I go to work around 7 to 8 hours, go to the gym, study for my certificate, and try to get 8 hours of sleep so I go to bed earlier. And there's not much wiggle room in that schedule to do anything else or to switch things up. And I could take studying off, but in my mind, when I take the studying off, I feel like I'm wasting my day or I'm not doing anything productive because I'm stalling my goals. So that makes my heart rate increase. I get anxiety from that. I feel stressed from that. Like I am tied to this grind set because I have to make these things come true. So therefore I cannot live now. I have to keep studying and I have to keep grinding. All of this could easily change, right? I could just say, yeah, well, maybe instead of saving 64% of your money, maybe do 50 or less, or like 40% or 30% like most people. But and then my response to that in my head is like, well, I don't want to do that because that's not the experience I want to have in January. The experience I want to have in January when I go and visit San Diego again is to elevate my previous experience. It's ambitious, right? But I want to go and live and have a vacation that is elaborate, right? Like that is a little splurgy, a little like fine dining, luxury, whatever. I want to pay for that. I want to be able to wiggle and move around. I want to be able to live a great vacation, as most people would, right? I don't want to live frugal my whole life. I want to have moments of splurging. This is what the grinding is doing with that money, with that saving. And I would rather trade off certain things now to be present later. But, you know, the result is very rigid living now. And, you know, and it manifests too with my job. Like, I do the same thing every day at my job. I come in, talk to the same people 40 hours a week and whatever. And some of you might be thinking too, like, wow, well, someone for you, that sounds pretty privileged, or like, you know, that sounds like the really good problems to have. Why are you complaining? And I think to that, it's like, well, I'm human. Everybody has valid emotions that they feel. This is what I feel. And it's normal to gripe about it. But I understand that if those are goals that I want to achieve, that there is a consequence and a price to pay for it now. And it gives me anxiety because I wonder, will I be able to have this trip that I envision in my head? If I maintain discipline, probably yes. Will I be able to finish this certificate in time so I can do something I actually like doing in my life? Yes, same answer. If I am disciplined, yes, I can do it. But with that comes a certain baggage and high expectation, like, oh, I need to do this or else the world's going to collapse. That's the anxiety talking. Oh, if I don't save this much money, I can't make this trip realize or happen or whatever. If my car breaks down, I then can't afford this trip. If my leg gets broken, I am in forever medical debt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the worst case scenario constantly. Anxiety is a deafening thing. And there are people out there that have reasons to be anxious. Not that anxiety is good or reasons are good for anxiety or whatever. But people out there have actual legitimate reasons versus my suffering to be anxious. Some people can't barely afford food. Some people can barely afford to pay the rent. Some people can barely afford to walk to get the treatment they need for certain conditions. That's anxiety. And I think also me talking about this as well hopefully resonates with some people, and like you've felt similar things and like, you know, truly our privileged life. Not that that's bad or good. Anxiety, no matter what issue people face, is not a good thing to have. And some people in worse circumstances than our own are so much better at dealing with it. Like people that are poor and that are hurt and that are starving, say in Gaza, have it infinitely worse than I do trying to do this with my silly little goals in America. But somehow some of them are able to just deal with it. And they take it on their shoulders. They carry their cross and they do it. And that's not supposed to negate what we feel here, but they do that stuff. The Ukrainians that are bombed and torn up. Africa. All these places that have their real survival issues have it infinitely worse than some of us do here. But yet they somehow are able to accommodate and live and manage that anxiety. I wish I could be in that mindset. And I know that a lot of us can. I know I can. But it takes that slowing down. Like how I'm doing now, talking to all of you. And putting my thoughts out into the world. Because I'm discovering more and more at this age, which is crazy. The more that you talk about your thoughts, the more that you put it out into the world, the better that you can formulate and feel for yourself, because now you hear those thoughts. You hear that in front of you. People hear that you trust. And you can be like, wow, that kind of sounds silly. Not that you're silly, but like, wow, that thought kind of sounds illogical. Like me being anxious about not being able to afford this trip in January when people can barely afford to fucking eat. You know what I mean? So being able to talk about this on this podcast and vent and kind of ramble helps me even relieve my anxiety. And I know that a lot of you out there also resonate with that. And some of you, hopefully, have healthy ways of dealing with your anxiety, like talking about it, having a friend or even the Lord or somebody around you to vent to and ramble on to, because then if you feel better, you're letting all that constant running and overstimulation in your brain, you're letting it out. You're letting yourself breathe and appreciate and understand the world. A lot of us have a lot to be grateful for. And I think anxiety robs us of that ability to be grateful. Getting back from the Navy, right? I was in my head a lot. I was like, I'm a washed up, no good mental health patient who wasn't able to endure the stressors of the Navy. There's a lot of red flags in that statement. One, I'm a human being. Two, a lot of people deal with depression and suicidal thoughts. Three, I'm back home and alive. And four, I am still in good health. But I felt like nothing being back at my grandma's house, having to restart basically. And I was so hard on myself because I wasn't immediately up in a job. I wasn't whatever, But it took me to be able to be comfortable and talk about that with my friends to understand that I'm just trying to fucking make it work. We're all doing our best. We need to give ourselves some credit where it's due. Anxiety robs us of that ability to be grateful, to be appreciative of our positions in life. Anxiety is a fake phantom voice that speaks in proverbs that are false and stupid pictures of reality. It's noise. Anxiety is noise. It is loud noise, but it's noise. Anxiety is a thief of the present, a thief of reality. Spiraling is like that too. Because, even for me in this long distance relationship that I'm in, long periods without response also make me anxious. Because when you're not able to see your partner face to face and you have an overthinking brain like I do, sometimes you think like, oh, they're done with me, or like they're not interested, or I said something wrong, or they're out doing something that they shouldn't be doing, or whatever. But again, right? That's me projecting the worst case scenario out into the world. And luckily I haven't done that because I know that those thoughts are silly. But in a long distance relationship, you have to fight those types of things a lot. And constantly, time and time again, I'm proven wrong with those thoughts. Like, I'll get the thoughts like, oh, he's out doing something, or like he's lost interest in it, or he's lost interest, or oh, I said something wrong. But in reality, hey, guess what? People have their own lives. People are doing things that make them busy. People are doing things that take them away from their phone. We're always on our phone, but not really on our phone. Sometimes getting lots of notifications and messages is very stressful. Sometimes seeing all the noise on the phone and all the little icons and all the whatever is stressful. So I get it. People are on their phone. They don't respond to messages because there's lots of them to get back to. And even if there are not, people just want to get on their phone to scroll and to go on it without having to talk to anybody. So I get it. That's reality. And that's what I had to tell myself, is that, yeah, it may have been 5-8 hours later, 10 hours later, but that doesn't mean nor tell me that this person is not interested or that I'm at fault, because the messages that follow are often loving and sincere and clearing up things and being clear in communication, whatever. And it proves me wrong. I'm like, wow, how much of an idiot I am. Luckily, I didn't say anything in an anxiety-induced rage or fit, So anxiety is a thief. Anxiety is definitely a thief in a lot of areas. A thief of joy, a thief of appreciation, a thief of gratitude, a thief of reality. A lot of us owe ourselves love, self respect, dignity. Overthinking, high expectations, stress often kill a lot of us on the inside. And it starts, the path forward, the path to healing starts with what I was talking about in the beginning. Slow your life down. Put the phone down. Go outside. Smell the air. Look at people. Look at the sky. Look at the stray dog. Touch the grass. Touch the trees. Touch your face, your skin, your hair. Get connected to the world. Slow down. Ground yourself into reality. Tell yourself about reality. Oh, I have this amount of time to get X done. If I don't do X, then Y is not going to happen, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but give yourself some time. We live in a world and a society right now, especially in America, where lack of productivity equals failing and nothingness. That couldn't be further from the truth. If you're human, you're doing your best. If you're a human, you try to survive. If you have a goal and you fail at it, make another goal. Try again. Do and do and do until you cannot do no more. But give yourself a realistic expectation and speed. People go at their own pace. People freak out and get anxiety over not being in a certain position in life. Like, oh my God, for me, right? I'm 26 and I still don't have the milestones that American Western society wants me to have. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't have my own place. But let's stop that right there, right? This current economy in this era of America and the world. One, why would I be married right now? Well, the reason for that, why would I not be married, is because people meet, their partners or their significant others at various stages in life. Love is not on a timeline. Love happens at the most, interesting moments. Love happens when love is ready to happen. We are not in the medieval era now where you pick it at a certain age. Oh, I picked that woman over there, and then you marry, and then you have kids in a very unloving relationship. That's not how things work. Love happens at different stages. Some people get married early, some people get married later, some people never get married at all. Some people date, and that's okay. Why should I be anxious over where I'm at in life based on the expectations of other people? Right? 2, I don't have kids. I don't have kids because the first is not completely done yet. Right? The first thing I mentioned. Love. I don't have kids because the first is not completely, gone through. I'm going through it right now, but who's to say even if my significant other wants to have kids? What if they don't want to have kids? What if I don't want to have kids? And who would blame me? In this economy, raising a kid in this economy where people struggle when they're single, people struggle when there are only 2 people, why would I bring a kid into this world while I'm struggling? Or people are struggling, or things are expensive. It's expensive to have a kid. And think about having 2 or more. Talk about being in poverty. Yeah, have kids. And you're not in the top 1%. Also, kids are an emotional and time investment. If I don't have my life in order first right now with the things that I want to do, why would I have kids and further make that hard on myself? Right? Life is different for everyone. People have their own lived experiences. People don't need to be on this timeline. Get that out of your head. You don't need to be on a timeline. You need to be on your own timeline that you set for yourself. Not what your mom says, not what your dad says, not what your pastor says, not what whatever says. You need to do what's best for you. Stop being anxious and stop having those crazy expectations for yourself based on others. Be realistic for you. And 3, owning a house or apartment? Have you not looked at the prices for things? I mean, I would only really have a house if I was in 2008 buying a property that I was only about, 8, 9 years old. I should have been doing that when I was 8 or 9 years old. All of us should have been. But buying a house at this current stage, especially in California, is nearly impossible. Well, you're not working hard enough. Fuck you. That's not how reality is. Buying or owning a home or renting an apartment is an extremely tough and wild expenditure. It'd put you in poverty or debt. And that's not a really good standard of living. I don't think that's a good standard of living. I think most people would agree that that's not a way to live in poverty, right? Is independence worth poverty? I don't think so, and I don't think that that's a good idea. Having your own place but not being able to afford food or like basic living, I don't think that that's something to strive for. A lot of people are living with their families now. Guess what? That's common in a lot of cultures. It's also used to be common in the United States in the 1800s, 1700s, even 1900s. Families would stick together. The nuclear family lived with each other, take care of each other, help each other out. That's kind of what it's going back to. And it's also because we're being forced to be in that position because of the extreme expense of moving out and starting your own life. You can't just move out when you're 18 anymore, unless you have like 5 people living in one space. Even then, that's chaos. It's no way to live. But yeah, like there's reasons that are beyond your control of why you can't make these things happen. The world that we live in right now is not ideal. Don't put these expectations on yourself and cause yourself to spiral with anxiety. Anxiety, again, is a thief of reality. And people are sometimes also not good contributors to anxiety. The world is full of some crazy ass expectations. And a lot of it comes from older people. And a lot of older people are very annoying. They're the biggest children there are, just in older bodies. They don't think about reality. Back when I was, well, guess what? We're in the present now, okay? Boomer, we're not in the old times anymore. The 50s, 60s, and 70s are gone. I can't buy a cheeseburger anymore for a penny. I can't buy a peach at the produce section for 30 cents anymore. I think actually 30 cents is an inflated price for today. I can't go and buy a peach for 10 cents anymore. Prices are just not what they are. Why am I living by your expectations? Based on a false reality that doesn't exist. Actually, a reality now that the older generations created with their policies and their lifestyles. They drive anxiety through the roof. They make the young people stressed. They make the young people tired and depressed. The old people do. We're just trying to survive in a world that they created. They prepared us for a world that no longer exists. So don't let anxiety rob you of your reality, of what's in your control. Set goals for you. Do what you need to do for yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about you. And if you get people in your circle whose goals align with yours and your paths intermingle, keep them around. Rely on them. Fall back on them. Be each other's friends. And even more so, if you find a romantic partner whose goals align with yours and you guys are vibing together, snatch them in. Consensually, of course. Snatch them in. Wrap each other around yourselves. be on the path of life together and be supportive of one another. Again, we are all human trying to do our best to survive and love and forgive and make sense of everything, because we live in a world right now that doesn't make sense and that's very clownish. It's a giant carnival. And we're all spectators that are wondering what the fuck's happening. I'm just trying to afford groceries, and yet I'm expected to take sides in a civil war that they want to happen? I'm already anxious enough. Do you think I want to be anxious about that? About the world falling apart around me? Fuck no. Anxiety is a problem. A lot of it starts from having this crazy reality that we think is real, but it's not. These expectations of living in our heads that are not real or tangible even. Stop being so hard on yourself. Be real. Take a moment to turn the noise, to appreciate yourself for who you are, to appreciate your friends, your loved ones who make life worth living. Because in my own experience, anxiety has caused nothing but extreme harm to my body. Lack of sleep, lack of actual rest, lack of just the ability to feel. Anxiety has been a thief of a lot of things in my life. And I wonder too, like those people out there that are just able to live and be grounded and take one thing at a time. I always wonder, like, how do they do it? How do you guys do it? And then the response often, in my experience, is they just say things like, I don't know. I just don't care. And when they say that, people are immediately abrasive. They're like, how do you just not care? Like, it's like a bad way to live. And then you think, like, is it really? They don't care about the things that are beyond their control, right? They don't care about, what's happening on social media. They don't care about what's happening that's beyond their control. They don't care about what they can't control. We have an obligation, everyone. I hope you're listening. We have an obligation to control what is within our own lives and that is within our own reach. That includes the people around us, work, the gym, the concerts we go to, the events we go to, the museums we go to, or the road trips we go on, the people we love, the animals we own, the animals we call family. Your day-to-day is what you can control. Stop worrying about things that are beyond your control. Stop trying to compare your lives to others. What is that quote? Comparison is a thief of joy. Just like anxiety. Live your life. But live it off your phone just a little bit, please. Please. Live your life away from the monotony of what's happening in the grand chaos of the world. Go get yourself a cup of tea or water, or go grab a beer you like, or wine, or something fun. Sit down and watch the clouds, the sky, the grass, the trees. Breathe slowly. And appreciate how far you've come in your life. Think about the kid that you were. And think about how far you've come from then to now. You're enough. You've done it. You're great. Even if you're in meager terms now, you're more independent and beautiful than you ever have been. You're more responsible now than you ever have been. You're trying. You're doing your best. The fact that you're able to sit down and conscientiously sit there with in meditation with your favorite drink and just relax and listen to my crazy voice, you've come a long way. You truthfully have come a long way. You try your best. You do what you can do. You analyze. You're smart. You're intelligent. You're analytical. You have skills and talents that people admire and talk about. People have good things to say about you. They talk well about you when you're gone. The people that you smile at that you don't know about, or they're out of your life, they still remember that, and they feel the impact that you've left upon them by being kind. You are everything, and you have done well. Anxiety can't tell you otherwise. You can believe it and accept the veil that it will put upon your worldview, but you also have the choice to relax and take the reins away from anxiety. Use the tools that you have around you in the simplest form, like that beverage, or that friend, or the walk outside, or the exercise, or the gym. Use those tools to take back how you feel about your life. Mental health is the most important thing in the world, because you can truly manifest a reality that's worth living. And often, the reality that is true and objective to everyone is way less horrible than you would have been convinced to believe by social media, by the phone, by the constant simulation and news and the go, go, go mentality. Slow down. It doesn't have to be that hard. You're doing your best. You matter. You care. You're amazing. And no one else can take that away from you but you. Anxiety. Anxiety is a thief. Don't let it be the thief in your life. You're doing enough. You're doing okay. The world is going to put pressure on you. Your family might even put pressure on you. Your friends might. But remember, you are responsible for your own journey and your path. If you make a mistake, don't dwell on it and spiral and beat yourself up. Get up and keep going. You're beautiful for even having tried. Get up. Most people don't. They'll sit there and squalor in that hate and anger that they're feeling from having failed, and they'll take it out on everyone else. But you have the power to not fall into that trap. Keep going. Slow and steady wins the race. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. Fuck the world's expectations for you. You get to set those yourselves. You are in charge of your own destiny and the master of your own command. You get to go at your own pace. Don't let anxiety tell you to make things faster or slower. Don't let anxiety tell you what to say and what not to say. Don't let people around you govern how your life is lived. Everyone must understand that anxiety is only as powerful as you make it. There's physical anxiety, right? Like when we're nervous and stressed, our heart rate increases and we can't sleep, we can't do anything. It feels like when you don't have because I've been there. When the voices are loud, the anxiety's loud, it's like the end of the world, and you sit there and you're thinking you feed into it like, oh yeah, maybe I am nothing, or maybe I am not trying hard enough, or oh yeah, I'm not going to have enough money for this thing, or whatever. You can reframe it. You can tell yourself then, how can I make the most out of this situation? Reframe it. Practice reframing. Instead of saying something like, I'm never going to reach this career at this point, or like, I'm never going to get this thing done, tell yourself, like, what are little baby things each day that I can do to get to this goal? For me, right? My NASM certificate, I work on it a little bit each day, 1 hour. I'll do if I don't even want to do 1 hour, I'll do a few lessons. Then if I'm feeling really bold, I'll do a chapter or two. I'm already at 42% done by the time this is recording. And I started last month. And that's been grinding. I don't even have to do that. Most people get it done around 3 to 6 months. But again, I'm doing what I can do to get this done in the way that I want it to get done. Nobody's track record or work ethic matters. What my work ethic does, I can control it. This is about my goals. So when you have that problem where you're sitting there like, oh, I'm never going to get this done, or I can't do it, just remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. If you have a big elephant and you need to cut it up or eat it or feast it, whatever, it's in chunks. Do it in chunks. Do a little bit at a time. A little bit goes a long way in your goals, whatever they might be. Don't give up on them, though. Don't give up on yourself. Don't let anxiety halt you from achieving what you need to achieve. Affirm yourself. Yes, I'm strong, capable, beautiful, lovable, and I have opportunities to grow every day. But remember, you cannot do anything without a healthy body first. So slow down, lessen the noise, get off the phone, do something that is meaningful, that is calm, that you're able to relax. Treat your body right. Treat your mind right. Slow down, slow your heart down. Get that mind placated, slow that down, and treat yourself right. If you treat yourself right, you're bound to treat others right. And your impact in your community, the people around you, will be unforgettable because you were able to treat yourself right first. You don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of others? And how are you going to take care of your own goals, right? So it is paramount that you take the reins back from anxiety and you become the master of your own destiny. So, kind of, summarizing what we've all learned here and what we've talked about, coping tools you can actually use, right? Whether it be for anxiety, the loud voices, the loud destructive thought paths, the spiraling. Coping tools. Go to the gym. Speak with people. Go with a friend and get them here, like, hey, do you have a moment to talk? And then just ramble, just vent, just whatever. If they're comfortable with being able to hear you, let your thoughts out and you'll hear them and you'll just be like, wow, that was kind of silly, Write something that you're grateful for. Have a gratitude list. It could just be 5 or 3 things, even one thing, just something. Write down what you're grateful for. Let your mind be at ease when you write. Write your thoughts down. It helps. I've actually done that. I have a little journal of things that I write down, my little prayer book, what I'm grateful for. Understand, too, that sleep is important with anxiety. If you get 7 or more hours of sleep a night, that will help you. I am so bad at getting sleep. Like, I will do 5 or 6 hours. That's not good. Your brain is an organ. Your brain is a thing, a mush. It needs rest. Because if it's going to be without rest, your anxiety is going to be quite worse. Diet, also. Make sure you're eating decent foods. Don't play into the corporations that want to kill you, like McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Wendy's, Taco Bell. Eat real food, okay? You can make real food taste good. Season that shit. Be a little Paula Deen. Be a Gordon Ramsay. experiment, get some fucking chicken in there, fry it yourself with healthier ingredients and alternatives, treat your body right. Because stress, diet, and lack of sleep all amplify or quiet anxiety. How you do those things will determine how anxiety is in your life. Pace yourself. Understand that learning to go at a sustainable pace long term is much better than being always on. Find a pace that works for you and your goals and stick to it. Like for me with my NASM, I do, maybe I'll study 3 times a week. Maybe 4 if I'm feeling, audacious. But don't always be on, because then you're going to feel trapped. Like you can do nothing else but work on your goals. Live life, have fun, do something else, play a game. And show grace for yourself. You're not broken for feeling anxious. Don't beat yourself up for feeling anxious. You're not broken. It's a part of being alive. Anxiety is a part of life. It's a part of being human. It doesn't make you worth less. It doesn't make you broken. It doesn't make you sick. Anxiety is a normal part of living. It's how you respond to it that matters the most. Especially in this time. You can give into it, or you can try your best to minimize the effects of anxiety. And then also understand what you can control and what you can accept. Learn the limits of what you can control. Others' choices, the world's state, and what you can't. You can't really control what other people do, right? You can't control the world. You can't control how others feel or what they say. That's like a big chunk of the battle with anxiety. Understanding that you can't control those things and then just being okay with that and moving on is a big sign of strength. But understanding what you can do, how you feel, how you react, how you respond, how you talk, how you walk, how you do whatever, you are in control of those things. That will give you a big chunk of power back to yourself. Understanding that other people in the world are not in your control and you are in your control in how you respond. Don't feed into the anger, the stress, and take it out on people. Just keep calm and carry on with your own life. Anxiety doesn't have to be a master of your life. You can take steps gradually, over time, and day to day to minimize anxiety's effects. Whether it be how you sleep better, how you eat better, how you give yourself grace more, you list things that you're grateful for, you show appreciation for yourself and where you are and who you are. Anxiety does not have to be a force that takes control of everything. You are the master of your life. You are the master of your goals. You are the master of how you treat yourself. So life is very short. Why not spend it treating yourself well? Give yourself some grace. That's what I've had to tell myself. And take back the reins that anxiety has over your life. Enjoy it. Slow down. Appreciate the world that we have and what's left. But yeah, anxiety is a big and important issue. And I hope that a lot of you took something from this episode and that you're able to help yourselves realize your goals and not beat yourselves up for anything. This has been episode 3 of This Fragile Fire. I love you all. And hey, you're beautiful, you matter, and the world is your oyster. See you guys next time.